Morning. It's Friday, June 25th. And this morning I want to talk about the attack on big tech. Now, you know that I was a techie most of my business life, and I made a very good living. And I was in technology close to the beginnings. I worked on computers that filled up a room. I was in this business before anybody heard of Apple or Amazon or Facebook or any of those giants, Google. I was in the business long before they existed. In fact, the first time I encountered the internet was after I had been in this business for 15 years. So when I look at the attacks on big tech right now, I'm not sure exactly what I see. I smell some jealousy on the part of other businesses that weren't quick to take advantage of the future. I see that technology has done certain things that have been done for years and years before them, but for some reason now they become unacceptable. I see that Congress is working its ass off writing bills to curtail the advancement of big tech. They object to big tech buying their competitors. So if Apple or Facebook or Google decides that there's a company out there that is competing with them, but that has good ideas, and they feel it would be an additional benefit to their company to own that company. That's been happening for years. Yet now they're accusing big tech of getting rid of the competition. And what will this do to the economy and the industry? This can have a harmful effect because many people go in and attempt to grow the business, and they may not want to work their whole life at that business. So now we are going to stifle the ability to sell your product after you've worked 10 or 15 years to make it a saleable item, and you want to leave the industry or you want to go on a different path. So in my mind, they're trying to harm the future of the industry. And yes, there are many things they complain about, but it's not really the technology they're complaining about. They're complaining about the platforms, the platform like Facebook or the platform like Twitter, because people can get out there and say things that are unacceptable to many others. Even have a new expression to deal with these situations. We have something now that we call the cancel culture. This is the ability to cause the mass withdrawal of support for public figures or celebrities who have done things that aren't socially accepted today. In fact, if you look at Donald Trump as an example, in other times, nobody would have taken him off the air. But Twitter and Instagram canceled him, took away his rights to his free speech. Now, they may not have agreed with it, and many people may not have agreed with it, but he had a huge following. And so they cancel cultured him, essentially. Not that that bothers me at all, because I was totally against it anyhow. But there are cases where people have been canceled for no reason. I myself have encountered a takedown of some of my rants by YouTube. But I appealed, and I won both cases because the terminology that I used was misconstrued by the software program that was analyzing my speech. But that's a whole other issue. I don't want to get into that. I want to talk about the attack on big tech, and that I think it's very unfair to try and curtail the initiatives of large companies to grow and become better. And just the idea that they are limiting competition by buying up the competitors. Well, let me tell you something. The mere fact that they buy up a company is good for the economy because other people will look and say, you know, I have an opportunity to build something and I can create something that I might be able to sell, or it might be able to be a giant. And this topic of big tech attack is one of the few things that is going on in Congress where there is actually bipartisan participation. You have Democrats that are for it and Democrats that are against it. You have Republicans that are for it and you have Republicans that are against it. And wouldn't that be wonderful if that continued across the entire spectrum of the problems that are facing us right now? Wouldn't it be wonderful if our government reacted to the other problems that we face with the same intensity that they're acting in the big tech attack, where we have people on both sides of the aisle sharing the same views, opposing factions in each party, and opposing factions one against the other, trying to sort out what the appropriate solution to this problem is. And they worked hard. They were up all night voting and reviewing and doing all kinds of things in the big tech problem. But the big tech problem is the least of the problems that we are faced with in this world. We are faced with monumental problems on voting that we cannot come to grips with because the same bipartisanship that's needed is needed to solve that problem. To have the people come and admit that they're trying to suppress votes, or not even to admit, just give in and say, yeah, it was a mistake. Not going to happen. And unfortunately, with the exception of the big tech attack, it's not happening on a lot of different fronts in our government. We're still working on the infrastructure and deciding what infrastructure really is. And that's a situation that could be solved by just splitting up all those different pieces that they want to attack and taking them on one at a time instead of trying to take them on en masse, as they say. So I look at this thing on big tech and I'm not happy about the attack on big tech. But that the process is what it is something we need all over the government in this country. And I will leave you with those thoughts. So I'll see you tomorrow morning. Bye.